Say I'm good-hearted, but I'm just getting started. Got my eyes on the target. No, no. Till the battle's won, till kingdom come. I'll never run. Best to give me your loyalty, 'cause I'm thinking the world you'll see. They'll be calling me, they'll be calling me royalty. Best to give me your loyalty, 'cause I'm thinking the world you'll see. They'll be calling me, they'll be calling me royalty. They say I'm dangerous 'cause I broke all their cages. No, I won't sit and take it. No, no. They left me for dead, I guess I'll never learn. Every time I break, there's just more pain to burn. They'll never, never, never learn. Till the battle's won, till kingdom come. I'll never run. Best to give me your loyalty, 'cause I'm thinking the world you'll see. They'll be calling me, they'll be calling me royalty. Best to give me your loyalty, 'cause I'm thinking the world you'll see. They'll be calling me, they'll be calling me royalty.
Once again, it's been a long winter and it's been a long wait since the last round where Dennis Diaz claimed his third straight title in this series. Welcome to Endurance for Amateurs and thank you for making us a part of your evening. We are back here for some more class racing and a brand new era in Pony Express Sim Racing. Good evening, everybody. My name is Sam Cavanagh here for Pony Express Sim Racing. And joining me in the booth once again is my usual broadcast partner, Mr. Byron Rodney, and joining us in retirement after being forced into retirement is one Mr. Dennis Diaz. Gentlemen, it's a new era. It's a new start. Good evening.
Good evening. I'm glad to be here. I'm jacked up for the E4A season. I'm glad to be back with you in the booth for this, Sam. Out of all the races that we've called, all the leagues that we've been, this is my most favorite, and this is the one I have fun with, and I just can't wait for tonight. Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, just under 2.5 miles, 10 turns, 3 classes. We're going to see a lot of action on the track tonight. 140 minutes to race, or not 140, an hour and 40. That's 100 minutes of racing we're going to bring you, and it's going to be a doozy.
Yeah, sorry for the late start. I wasn't aware of the actual start time, so we're just coming at the end of qualifying right now. We'll bring up the ticker just before we end up into the race, and it's meant to be Michael McCoy at the top, but Michael McCoy is in third, so a big shock already in this race, Dennis, in this session. Dennis, is McCoy not the fastest out there so far tonight?
Yeah, so since it's open qualifying and we've had a lot of people qualifying, it's gonna be difficult to get a good time in. You can also see Terry is second to last as well, so that's also a big shock. But they have more than enough time to make up those places, and as long as they keep it clean and consistent, they're gonna see themselves into the front of the grid.
Yeah, and just before we head into the race session, Byron, a new class in this one. We have a switch up in the way things are run here, and as we can see on our screen, with Michael McCoy just finishing his qualifying run and moving up to second place, we have the introduction of the LMP2 prototypes here for this season.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch these things, racing around with the GTE and the GT3 class, because of the speed and the horsepower that these cars bring to this track. You're looking at qualifying time, Patrick Ripley on the pole at a 1:06, but you've got to go to a minute 12 in the GTE class and a minute 15 in the GT3 class, and that is going to be what is a big difference in closing rate.
Yeah, Aaron Claybor is the man on the pole in GT3. GTE, Bryce Anderson is on pole now. This leaves it very open now, Dennis, especially with GTE. A lot of the people that were in GTE last season have decided to stick around. We could be in for a big fight here. A lot of people very close in that class.
Yeah, it's looking pretty close so far. We just have to see what's going to happen. It's a long race. People can make mistakes. People can crash, hit the wall. This is pretty easy to do in Canadian Tire. So I say at the end of this, we're going to see how the battles for the whole season is going to play out, and hopefully be an exciting one.
Absolutely, as we get ready to go racing right here. Let's take a quick look at the grid for tonight's racing, starting with the LMP2 class. We have Patrick Ripley on the pole for this first race with Michael McCoy in second. Terry Carragher Jr. sneaking into third place at the end there. He gets on the second row with Ronnie Osmer to his outside. Then we got Jimmy Covert, then Oleg Vorotniak in P6. Willie Balcala and Zachary Nurnberger make up row 4. Mark Dillon Jr. and Atticus Middleton make up row 5, with Timothy Emanuele bringing up the rear in LMP2, Byron.
Yeah, GTE class is going to start with Bryce Anderson on the pole, and to his outside elbow is going to be Doug Buchanan. Brad McCollum's going to roll off third. Fourth will be Paul Skip, followed by Ryan Tyler. David Lehman is in there, followed by Paul Boyal, Tyler Langenberg, Keith Roycroft. These are all names I remember from last season. Carlos Ramos, that's a new one for me. And Andrew McMurray bringing up shotgun on the field in GTE.
Yeah, we've got Antoine de Cache at the rear end of GTE. And Dennis, do you want to call out the GT3 class?
You can do them.
Okay. Okay, starting on the pole, the GT3 will be Aaron Claybore. He'll be joined in the front row by Mark Thomas from the UK. Nicholas Paletti and Tony Watson make up row 2. Interested to see Tony Watson make the choice to drop back to GT3. Carl Smith and Chris Lawson make up row 3 in GT3, with Zach Purcell and Dave Ferrara making up row 4. Row 5 will be Marcus Osborne and JR Kopp, with Alexander Matola and James Former making up row 6. Row 7 will be Aidan Svoboda and Andrew Malinovsky in that 14th position. 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th and 20th will consist of Roger Shank, the reigning GT3 champion, Sean Crowley, Gary Schilling, Daniel Barnett, John Navarra and Terry Bauman making his debut here tonight in this race. So definitely a stack field once again here for Endurance for Amateurs. Guys, I'm going to leave the floor to you. Who is your pick for each class here tonight?
Well, I'm going to be looking at the LMP2 right now, and just by looking at the way that they were practicing in the other server earlier tonight, Michael McCoy looks like he has got a handle on this car, but Zachary Nuremberger, he qualified bad because it was open qualifying. I think Zachary's going to have a little something for him in this before it's done. And the ever-present 55, Ronnie Osmer, he's a wild card. He has a good night. Look out, Michael. It's going to be a horse race. But I'm still looking for Michael McCoy to take the top in the LMP2.
As for me, LMP, it's going to be, for me, between two people that I've been waiting for a while. It's going to be between my rival for GTE for the past 2 seasons, Terry, and of course Michael, fast as always. As for GTE, could be honestly the top 4 could take the win, including David. Actually, almost everyone in GTE can take the win. But if I were to pick one, probably have to say Paul, or I'll pick 2, Paul and Doug Buchanan, for sure. As for GT3, we have the first GT3 champion, Tony Watson, in. I think, do we also have, we have Roger Shank, another champion. And then I think we also have Carl Hanwick, if I remember correctly, if he's in here or not. But if I were to give to one, it'd probably have to be to Roger. Roger's been consistent all season as well.
Yeah, back qualifying though for tonight starts back in P15 in the GT3 class, so going to be having a bit of a tough time getting up for the field. Will that knock his confidence at all there, Byron, because of him being so back, or will he just bide his time and slowly work his way forward here?
Well, like we've said, this is an endurance race. It's not a sprint. This is where mental toughness comes in. You need to stay sharp, hit your marks, and you don't have to be the fastest car out there. You just need to be the most consistent, especially with your laps, hit your marks, especially with your, pit stops. As Sam, the pace car is in, and the LMP2s are getting ready to roll.
Yes, we are, as we get going for the first race of the season here in Endurance for Amateurs. I apologise, and they're all away as Patrick Ripley leads them out of turn 1. But look at the moves by Michael McCoy already in turn 2. He's already looking to try and get around Patrick Ripley here, looking hungry already. Terry Calgar Jr. now falling back into the clutches of Ronnie Osmer. Back in GTE, they've already started. Bryce Anderson off to a decent start. Doug Buchanan out in second place with Brad McCombs in third. Paul Skip is in P4 in his Porsche. Then you've got Ryan Tyler, David Lehman, watch out for him tonight. Paul Boyle in P7, and GT3 just starting as well. Aaron Claybore off to a decent start, but back in the front in LMP2, it's a dogfight between the top 4 right now. We've got Ripley, McCoy, Calgar, and Osmer.
Yeah, these guys are going to be coming up on lap traffic pretty darn quick. I'd say within the first 4 to 5 laps, they're going to have to start working the slower field, and we're going to see what these guys have got as far as patience and concentration goes in this LMP2 class. It's going to get interesting as we are really getting a dogfight for the top spot in LMP2.
That we are, as we bring up the ticker for the first time tonight. A very attractive looking ticker. I will apologise, and Patrick Ripley almost immediately on the second lap goes around, hits the wall. Not too much damage, but that is going to knock his confidence there, Dennis.
Yeah, no, for sure. Having any incidents early on in this race is not too bad. You can still recover it, as I've done many times. So as long as Patrick can keep it nice and consistent, he can make his way back up the field. We also had down the main straight Jimmy Covert spinning as well. So he's going to have to make up some positions as well.
Yeah, we'll take another look at that and see what happened to Jimmy Covet, because that was quite far back in the LMP2 field. You see William Alcala and Oliver Vorotniak battling behind him, but just lost it round that final corner. Now, we've seen that many times here, Byron, just taking too much or momentum into that final corner. It's enough to send you around.
Yeah, and not only that, but these guys are only working that second lap getting into that final corner. These tires are just now coming up to temperature and grip. So you got to tiptoe these things on fresh tires when you're out there on the track. It takes patience. You got to feel this car out, wait till those tires come in, and then get after it.
Yep, I do apologize. My overlay is deciding it doesn't want to work anymore, so there we go. We're back. As with the reigning GT3 champion right now, Roger Shank, now in a battle with Andrew Milanowski, and Sean Crowley right behind him in the number 31 machine. Not a bad little paint scheme on the back of on that car, and we've got that very nice little KISS car right behind him. Daniel Barnett rocking that paint scheme this season. I think everybody can tell he's a bit of a KISS fan, right?
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
There's nothing wrong with
Roger. No, I'm looking at Roger Shank's car going around, man. That gave me headaches trying to watch it. You know, it's almost like the world's fastest hippie hitting around the track. But Roger Shank's got a beautiful looking number 950.
Yeah, for some reason my overlay is refusing to work, so I do apologise. Atticus Middleton is already in pit road. He is sporting a very colourful paint scheme there on his LMP2. But we go back to the front right now. Michael McCoy is your leader. They're already coming up on lap traffic here. That's a Lamborghini. I believe that might be Terry Bauman they're going around. As Ronnie Osborne runs into the back of him, and Osborne has to go to the grass to avoid him completely. So Bauman already I hate to say it, already starting to get in the way a bit there, Byron.
Yeah, we were talking about it earlier before the race started. It was going to be a patience race. Now, how many times have you turned laps around Canadian Tire, Sam? Dennis, I know you've turned a ton around this track. It is not the most, got to be on elbows up the whole time back around, but it is a very technical track with the elevation changes and the off-camber turns. And having a closing rate that the LMP2 does on a GT3 car, you could come over a blind corner and find a car in your windshield quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Absolutely. As we're looking at Ronnie Osborne right now, he has recovered very quickly from that little incident with Terry Bauman, and Bauman actually wrecked his car. Straight after that, as Ronnie Osborne going to put a big move on Terry Calgar Jr. here through turn one, and Calgar having a few problems here with the connection, might have let him pass just to save any incident from happening. So pretty good heads-up driving there from Terry Calgar Jr. As right next to them, off goes Aiden Svoboda.
Yeah, Svoboda, he was given the line to the faster class car, the LMP2, and he just got it off the corner, got his tires out there on the grass, no traction, whoop, and see ya.
Yeah. And now Ronnie Osborne up to second here, Dennis. He's got a 4-second gap to make up to Michael McCoy as we've got more incidents happening. Jimmy Covet in a bit of trouble here. I do apologise. The replay overlay is very slow. Oh, no,
Terry just span on the exit of Moss.
Oh, that was Terry Calgar. Sorry, I apologise. As we're going to take a look and see what happened to Terry Calgar Jr. It looks like we've had a problem for...
He has some steering suspension damage.
Oh, he's got some big-time damage. He's got to limp that thing over to pit lane, and if I'm not mistaken, he's going to have to take that one and only fast repair that they are given here in E4A, but he's got to get a long way around to pit lane, 2.5 miles for this track, or just under it. That makes for a long way to get around to the pits if you have an incident in the early turns.
Absolutely, as we...
Terry has a lot of work to do.
That he does. I apologise, just a few technical glitches right now as we are...
Well, Sam fixes technical glitches. I did not get a chance, Dennis, to talk to the drivers pre-race. I mean, how far can we go on a tank of Go Fast, and are these guys willing to double or triple stint a set of tires?
As for triple stinting a set of tires, it's not going to be possible. Double stinting, you might get it, but to triple, you're pushing it.
Oh,
as for the fuel,
sorry to cut you off there. We've had a big incident there. Ronnie Osmond's dropped back to P6 right now, and we've had another spin there. That was Mark Dillon Jr. having a spin. I think that's on the exit of Moss Corner right there. Osmond losing spots. Terry Cowger Jr. not getting his title charge off to a good start. He's already in pit road taking that fast repair. Lots really kicking off already, especially for that LMP2 field there, Dennis.
Yeah, the LMP2 field is having to deal with a lot of traffic right now. I'm watching Michael go through a bunch of GT3s, and he's flashing people by, letting them...
Well, I've got my eyes on Oleg Vorotniak, because you know what? How many times have we talked about Oleg, Sam? He quietly, under the radar, moves his way up through this field. He's great in early and mid stages of the race. I'm hoping that he has got his mental, stamina down to where he can work the whole hour and 40 minutes of this thing, because he has always snuck his way up, worked his way up to second, and watched him just get by a spinning car. As I was watching that, get by the spinning car, oh shoot, where did he go? Of Roger Shank.
That's a Shank having problems. So the reigning champions of this field having problems. I've noticed that we've had a problem for Bryce Anderson as well, as he's just got lapped. Oleg Vorotniak, Bryce Anderson all the way down in P10 in GT. Alexander Matola has just had an incident as well, as he's facing the wrong way on a one-way street right now, coming through the right-hander. Lots going on right now. LMP2 field is starting to thin out. We're looking at William Alcala right now as Mark Dillon Jr. goes off once again, and he's not having a good night so far. Was actually talked into racing here tonight, and well, Dennis, I think he might be regretting being talked into racing tonight.
To be fair, I would rather be driving right now, but it's pretty chaotic right now. There's still so many people, and the LMPs are so quick that it's very hard to get through it.
Well, let's face it. I mean, we got a full field of 45 cars out there tonight, and you got an LMP class that is so much superior on traction and horsepower that they're going to have a lot of lap traffic the whole night to work through. I don't see here at Canadian Tire where a guy in an LMP2 is going to have a mental break. He's not going to have a time to sit there and just go, oh, okay, I'm on the straightaway. No, he's got his work cut out for him. He is going to have a sweat worked up by the end of this one.
Yeah. And again, I do apologize. I'm going to have to just sort out, so you guys keep talking amongst yourselves.
Yeah, so I mean, I agree with you, Byron. The LMPs are not for people that want to be relaxed. These cars are really fast. They will slide on you, no problem. And there is no time in between the corners to even relax. You're constantly at almost 100%, trying to think what your next move is.
Yeah, I liken it to, when we run at Spa, we run the GTE class and the GT3 class for the 24 of Spa, and I'm used to that track, and it gets the rhythm going and a nice thing, but you get a nice long break on a couple of straightaways. But iRacing came out with the Mercedes F1 car. Have you tried that car yet, Dennis? I mean, have you run that thing? I'm sure you have. You get out on Spa with that car, things happen in a hurry. You don't get that break. So these guys in the LMP2 tonight, I'm understanding how they're feeling.
Yeah, I ran the F1 car because we also have another series coming up on Saturday nights. Mackenzie Johnson hosting that for us. And the F1 cars, you're right. They go through corners so quickly that you don't have time to react. You're driving it based off of instinct.
Yeah, that car, I mean, I've got a lot to learn with that car, but I'll tell you what, I took that thing around Spa and the downforce it generated, I was like, woof, especially when you recharge the battery system, you capture all the power in that, and then you go on a full deployment fast flyer lap. That thing is just, I mean, it's a simulation, but I felt like I was getting sat back in the car. As looks like we're going to have our first retirement of the night. Well, make that second. Andrew McMurray is out, and Terry Bauman is out now.
Yeah, lots of retirements going on right now, as we got things going on all over the place at the moment, as The LMP2 field is still very stretched out. Apart from Ronnie Osmer, who's starting to make his way back from the field here. Now he's right on the back of William Alcala right now. Alcala having a quiet race up until that moment. Osmer trying to make up for lost time here. Tony Watson, now he was one of the people we mentioned at the start of the race here. Dennis, he's had a big crash right there.
Yes, sir. Canadian Tires is doing Canadian Tire things.
Yeah, that's pretty much all of it summed up in a quick sentence. Canadian Tire doing Canadian Tire things. It's a sweeping track. I love the track. I love the elevation changes. But can you imagine being behind the wheel of an LMP2 and you know you got to work lap traffic. You know you have a massive closing, speed on the slower cars, coming over a blind exit in a corner and all of a sudden finding a car right there in your windshield.
Yeah, it could be a bit of an issue. Absolutely, as we've had Bryce Anderson in trouble. He's had to take it to pit road. Now, this is what we've spoken about with Bryce Anderson so many times since we started broadcasting this league here, that Bryce Anderson is a fast driver, but once his cage starts getting rattled, he starts making mistakes a lot more often there, Dennis.
Yeah, it just tends to happen. Usually he tends to recover as well pretty well. But
Osmer spins it again.
There's also a really good battle between Brad and David Lehman.
Yeah, as we're just figuring that out right now. As there is David Lehman, Brad McCombs in second place. We'll go and take a look at Ronnie Osmer in just a second. For some reason, my replays are not working properly, so my overlay, even though I've tried and tested it about 1 million times, has decided no, I'm not going to work today. So.
It might have to do with the fact that we're at Canadian Tire. It's a graphically intensive track here on the simulator, and we got 43 cars in 3 classes running around here. So yeah, your software is probably going, which button do I push?
Hey Sam, I gotta go into the driver's channel, and then I guess they need me over there, so you guys have to.
Yeah, work away. You're fine. But anyway, yeah, definitely not my hardware anyway that's been the problem, because we both know that's mainly brand new, so
hey,
that's
I
not
built that
usual.
thing.
You helped me build the thing.
Well, I couldn't build it. It's built, how many thousand miles is Ireland from the States?
From where you are, probably about 3,000 miles.
Yeah, well, I put the brain work into it. You put the brawn into it. So we'll claim that as a pair.
Ronnie Osmer in pit road to get his fast repair right now after collecting that damage. Now, Patrick Ripley is back up to second place. The gap now is only 1.8 seconds between McCoy and Ripley. Ripley is on a charge in this race so far. He has shown a lot of pace and is already trying to put Michael McCoy to shame here tonight with the qualifying, but he's not really. He's had that spin already, and he's just scything through the field right now, trying to make up for that last time. Will it come back to bite him, or has he actually got that pace to try and get to the back of McCoy?
I've been trying to figure that out since the drop of the hat on this thing, because when he put that car on the pole, I was frankly surprised. But then again, I thought, well, maybe it's because they did open qualifying by mistake, where all the cars were out there qualifying at the same time instead of a single qualifier lap. So I didn't get a good. You couldn't quite get a good read. But if you're watching this battle go on, he is right on the back of him. McCoy.
He was.
He's not got much of a lead on him. He's only got a couple of seconds, but traffic is being the impeding factor for both of them. McCoy is now out in front with clear track in front of him for a good ways, and Ripley still has one more car he's got to get around.
Yeah, that's Mark Dillon Jr. He's just absolutely flew by him right there, as that's the first LMP2 we've seen go. Actually, that made that the fourth LMP2 we've seen go a lap down, with Timothy Emanuele lap down in his Bentley-inspired LMP2. Alongside Jimmy Covert, who's had nothing but problems since the drop of the green flag, and Atticus Middleton, who's had a lot of problems already in this race, and he almost comes to blows with Jimmy Covert right there through the switchback right there. Not really want to be doing that in the first race of the season.
No, and let's go throw some love over to GTE class. David Lehman and Brad McCombs. What a battle have we got going on for first and second in that class. These guys are not letting up off of each other.
Yeah, and I said during the preseason that Brad McCombs was going to be absolutely on it from the get-go this season. He was looking strong in the preseason race at the 3 hours of the Green Hell. He's looking strong again here tonight, and it's going to be interesting to see if David Lehman can handle the pressure. He's had a change for the overall lead because Michael McCoy has had a big problem. He's got loads of damage on that LMP2. The front end is ripped off. That is some severe damage on that 33 LMP2. That is some big trouble there for Michael McCoy.
Yeah, I'm going to look back on my replay right now. Michael McCoy was flashing the lights, and it looks like he just got into the back of a slower car of Tony Watson. He had nowhere to go. Tony Watson was wide off the racing line. Oh my gosh, he was going for the pass, McCoy was, on some other cars, and he had nowhere to go. And that's that blind corner I was telling you about with the closing speed of this LMP2, just right into the back of another car.
Yeah, Zachary Nürnberger in pit road as well. You can see that is Marcus Osborne in pit road with damage on his car as well. Tony Watson in pit road with damage on his car. And Michael McCoy finally does make it to pit road, but how much ground has he lost out while crawling it back to pit road? Patrick Ripley out in dreamland right now, 13 seconds up the road, but as we've already seen tonight, that traffic is absolutely playing havoc with the field right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, think about it, Sam. The track is a beautiful track to drive. It's one of my favorites, actually, to drive in a sports car. But when you put this many cars on there with these different closing deltas of speed, it gets to be a challenge to work your way around traffic because you need to be at the right... You know how it works with racecraft. Corner entry, apex, corner exit. To get the optimum speed and handling on your car, you need to be at the proper position on the track, and that's a hard thing to do at a track where you really have no straightaway to rest. You've got nothing but corners. They're long sweeping corners, granted, but there are a lot of corners, and it's hard to get around cars.
As we're still looking at Ripley right now, trying to get around Zachary Nürnberger, who's come back out on track with a fresh tank of fuel. I don't think he took tyres because he was in pit road for a very short amount of time, and I'm thinking it's getting very confusing now because we don't, with the amount of incidents that are going on right now, we don't know if people are coming in for scheduled stops or if they're coming in for actual damage repairs, as Patrick Ripley almost gets into it with Zachary Nürnberger there, and there's a whole gaggle of cars in front of both of those LMP2s as there goes Ripley with a big dive to the inside. Now he's got a GT3 to deal with as he sails around the outside, as I believe that was Gary Schilling. It's not Gary Schilling because yeah, it is Gary Schilling. As wow, what a chaotic race we've had so far. And while we were away from that, David Lehman has been able to pull a lead on Brad McCombs. That gap is about 5 seconds now.
Yep, and you know, we've been giving some love to the GTEs and the LMP2s because, you know, they're the faster classes. Let's show some love to the GT3 class. Mark Thomas. That, you know, that's a name I don't remember calling a whole lot last season, and he has got the overall lead in the GT3 class with Aaron Claybaugh not too far behind him. He's close enough to see him, but he's not close enough to do anything with it. Kyle Smith's right there. J.R. Kopp, he's a little ways back, so the top four are still battling it out, GT3.
Yeah, and J.R. Kopp was very apprehensive going into tonight's race. I just need to change something on my call sheet here because it's still under his old name, under the iRacing name has been given, which he doesn't like being called. So there we go. He's now J.R. Kopp, as yeah, he's very much having a decent race up in P4 right now, not really in any battles. He's 5 seconds off the back of Kyle Smith, as Daniel Barnett has had an incident right there. We're going to try and find him. There he is, backwards into the tyre barrier. More positions lost there for that KISS BMW.
Yeah, and he had to go ahead and tow it back because he had some massive suspension damage. It was crab walking. I hadn't seen a car crab walk that bad in a long time. Fast repair on tap for him.
Yep, as he comes over the crest down the Andretti straight right now, not doing too badly. Jimmy Cover is not really had an incident since his bad start to the race. He is slowly but surely making his way through the GTE field. Just got to pass Keith Roycroft right there. And look at the paint scheme on Keith Roycroft there, Byron. Very interesting and very unique there on that BMW.
Well, it depends on which side you're looking at that BMW from. Are you looking at it on the left side? You're looking at it on the right side? Normally you see colors fade from front to back, or, you know, this one kind of goes from side to side. So you ever watch that old episode of Star Trek where you had the two guys? That's what that car reminds me of.
It reminds me of Two-Face from the Batman series as well. You know.
Here you go.
Yeah. As one driver we're not really mentioned here tonight, Carlos Ramos, he's just had an incident right there. He's had a crash somewhere. Obviously, I can't go back and look at it because my replays are completely balked right now. So, but he's lost it.
Or we're going to catch enough incidents for everyone to see just by, you know, scanning through the field. There is a lot going on this track, bud.
And just to respond to Tom Corner, who's in the chat right now, we are 22, well, just about 23 minutes in. The lead drivers are on lap 20, so that's why you can pick that one up. We've had a lot of incidents so far, and the overwhelming favourite, Michael McCoy, getting absolutely destroyed about 4 or 5 laps ago. That's keeping you up to date with what's going on in LMP2. GTE, we've had a battle.
LMP2, I'm sorry to interrupt. Oleg Vorotniak and William Alcala are having an epic battle for second place right now.
That they are. There you see Alcala trying to get around Zachary Nürnberger. That might cost him a bit of time there as they come through turn 2. And Nürnberger not going to try and give up track position here, as he's going to make Alcala go around the outside. Dave Ferrara's had an incident. We'll go and take a look and see if he's okay in just a second. But Nürnberger not giving up any ground right now. That's going to let Oleg Vorotniak get ever closer as finally Alcala gets by. And now Vorotniak gets bought by Nürnberger. Oh, and Nürnberger goes around.
Oh. Yep. Nürnberger wasn't making it easy on him, and he paid the price right there, overdriving that corner. But Nürnberger, you know, he is one heck of a competitor. He is going to do his best and drive his heart out. But as the battle between Alcala and Vorotniak rages on.
And it does. Alcala there, just coming through this long right-hander right here with Oleg Vorotniak right behind him as well. There are other battles going on. We've got a battle for second place in GT3 right now between Aaron Claybor and Kyle Smith right now. There is Aaron Claybor in his Porsche 911 GT3R. And Kyle Smith, that's JR Cup right there. There's right there in that wonderful monster BMW. I don't care what anybody says. If there's a monster paint scheme on a car...
Alcala off the track!
Oh no, that is a big disappointment for him right there, as there goes Nürnberger back around him again. So Alcala's got to do all that work again. Only dropped him to third place though. He's still got plenty of time ahead of Terry Calger. So I think Alcala might have just got off lucky right there.
Well, Alcala, he got off the track. He got his tires off of the racing surface, out into the right, and he basically just followed, if I can get a bead on it, he followed Michael McCoy, who was off the track, who went into the wall. So both of them off in that same corner.
So Michael McCoy, his night just going from bad to worse here tonight, and I'm going to tempt fate here, but I'm going to try a replay and see what happened. Now, he was trying to get around one of the GT3 cars, just ran a bit too far wide. Yeah, Alcala went into the wall as well. No, he just missed it. So very lucky, but obviously Michael McCoy was not so lucky. And
Michael McCoy going to the pits.
Yeah, might not be... It might be night over for one Mr. Michael McCoy, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I thought that was my pick for the LMP2 class. But you know what? I didn't figure traffic in on this track. We have got battles raging all over between lap cars, non-lap cars, all these different classes, everyone trying to get out. Patrick Ripley still has a commanding lead in the class. Oliver Rodniak, he's on island all by himself in second, and Alcala still being posted in third on an island by himself, with Calgar Jr. fourth, and Ronnie Osmer still on the lead lap,
Yeah, but
albeit a minute behind the leader.
Look at Alcala. He's caught right back up to... well, he's not caught back up to Oliver Rodniak. He's 27 seconds behind, but... Oh, I believe that was Claiborne that just went off track there. It was Aaron Claiborne. He was in the lead after a problem for Mark Thomas. And now Aaron Claiborne going off. Antoine Decache has gone off as well in his BMW. I'm not sure why he's being classed in GTE. But it's all kicking off here tonight, Byron.
Yeah. You know, there's so much going on this track that I am starting to suffer all sorts of... Kyle Smith now assumes the lead of GT3.
Yep, it is all kicking off here at Canadian Tire, and a very interesting first race of the season. As right behind Antoine Decache is the race leader Patrick Ripley, who's not waiting for anybody right now. Atticus Middleton and Daniel Barnett have got into a crash there. Barnett is facing the wrong way. Someone else was facing the wrong way as well there. I didn't quite see who that was. I think
that was Atticus.
Might have been, but Paul Boyle has been off the track as well. So everybody is having incidents right here. This is like Darlington, but in road course cars. Everyone's going to finish with a dent on the car at the end of this one.
Yeah, whoever brings home the cleanest car wins.
At the moment, that's well, believe it or not, but at the moment that's Oleg Vorotniak. He's not had a single incident so far tonight, touch wood.
Yeah, that LMP2 we saw that was fun was Atticus Middleton, and he hasn't put it on the hauler, but he is in the pits.
Yeah, he does usually like to keep in it, so he will be back out on track, but eventually. One driver moving back up, still moving his way up for the field is Jimmy Covet. He's up into P6 now overall after getting around all of the GTEs. Another one of the LMP2s making his way through the GTEs is Timothy Emanuele. And good to see this guy back. He's usually one of the more colourful drivers in the field. Very, very active with his overtaking and racing and stuff like that. Also good to see him in the top class. He's usually in GT3, making that big leap up to LMP2.
Yep. Okay, here is the latest list of retirements, ladies and gentlemen. Michael McCoy on the hauler. Ronnie Osmer on the hauler. Daniel Barnett on the hauler. So attrition is starting to take its toll here at Canadian Tire.
Yeah, Ronnie Osmer out of this race. I'm not really sure what happened to him. He was running strong for a good while, but I'm thinking he literally just retired because...
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
And Chris Lawson on the hauler.
That's a shame for Chris Lawson. He was having a good night tonight. John Navarra is still in this race, even though he's down in P16 in GT3. And Navarra going off that geodesic racing car. You remember in the podcast I was talking about the geodesic racing team coming to this series, Byron. There he is, and he's not having a good night so far.
No, he's not. I'm trying to focus in on what number you got on that car.
Number 63.
Yeah, there he is. Well, you know what? It's not an easy thing to run an endurance race in a multi-class. You know, this is why I love this style of racing. This is, you know, you watch on TV, all the love's given to Formula One with Sky Sports, all the love's given to the Indy cars with, you know, in NASCAR. But do you really see a lot of love being given to IMSA except for when it comes to the Rolex 24 or, you know, the big, you know, endurance races that we have here? No, but this is an exciting style of racing that you can go to your local road course when these cars come around and see for yourself. There's a lot that goes into this, and these guys are super talented.
That they are. and they're showing their talents right now. If you can get away from this race very unscathed, then you deserve a big pat on the back and a shake of the hand, because this has been a chaotic race right now. Mark Dillon is back in pit road again as John Navarro goes off on the exit of turn 2 once again. Mark Dillon Jr. still in pit road. Aaron Fulford, a driver we've not mentioned much here tonight, driving for that EE Sports team with his teammate Carlos Ramos, and he's on the same trying to close down on his teammate right now. 3 seconds off the back. That silver and red Corvette not doing too badly. Not seeing him in too many incidents here tonight.
No, we haven't. He's quietly moving himself around that track, which, if you think about it, is something you really want to do. Quietly, you stay off the radar. All of a sudden, next thing you know, you're popped up on the broadcast because you got the 2 guys in the booth sitting here scratching our heads going, where in the heck did he come from?
I just went to exciting and it went to Mark Dillon's car. I don't know why. Mark Dillon is exciting, that's why. Anyway, round the outside of, that's Nicholas Paletti. There goes Jimmy Covert, still making his way up there, still in P6. He's a good 20 seconds off the back of Zachary Nurnberger, but Covert making his way forward. What have you just seen?
Oh, no, I was just thinking when you said around the outside, I was like, 2 LMPs go around the outside, around the outside, around the outside. Yeah, I know, I'm tired.
All right, Eminem, calm down. So, not really any battles to speak of right now. Zach Purcell in a battle right now. Well, trying to be in a battle right now with Mark Thomas, but we've seen how fast Mark Thomas has been so far. The Brit is really flying. Did have the lead, but had a spin which cost him the lead and handed it over to Kyle Smith. JR Kopp in second place in his Ferrari. There is supposed to be a Pony Express paint scheme on there, but I think he might have forgotten to put it on.
Well, I am looking at a Pony Express black and white paint scheme on it. Black to the front, red to the rear with the big ponies on the door.
Let me reset my paints.
Your paints may not be on there, but that is a sharp-looking car. As he is running in second place behind Kyle Smith, who, as I'm watching, he's got a bit of a lead on him.
Yeah, Patrick Ripley in pit road from the lead overall. So this is actually a scheduled stop here, Byron. Ripley coming in for his stop, and this is going to be interesting to see where the strategy lies now. He's managed to get 30 laps out of that and instantly takes the fast repair from that damage he received on that spin on lap 2, which we thought might have cost him the race already. Now leading pretty healthily.
Yeah, I'm watching his pit stop. I don't see the car being raised in the air, so I'm not seeing tires go on it. Fast repair done, fuel flowing in. He's taking a full load of fuel by the amount of time he's staying in pit road, unless he caught a penalty on pit entry. But he's sitting there for a little bit now as he finally exits pit lane.
Adam T. Bacon, to answer your question, yes. David Lehman, still in the lead. That is actually Paul Skip right behind him. Skip has had a very mediocre race by his standards, you know. Usually right up there near the front, but currently languishes down in P10, I believe. Yeah, he's about 4 seconds off the back of Ryan Tyler, so Paul Skip having a pretty mediocre race by his standards.
Well, if you think about it, Sam, you know, we've been with this, you know, this series from the get-go, from season 1, and we've watched it grow. How many cars did we have average on track in season 1 versus what we're seeing on track now? We're at the point where we're going to be having to have a cut to where there's only enough slots on the track for the fastest guys. And when you get this many cars on the field, there's a lot of things that can happen, especially with, you know, these multi-classes being the speed difference that they are. So it brings a whole new dynamic to this thing. Guys that were dominant in the early seasons may find themselves languishing in the back because of incidents in multi-class, you know, with this many cars on the track later in the, you know, in these later seasons.
We've had another incident for Mark Thomas here. He's in the wall. Oh, that's a big crash there for Mark Thomas. I believe that's on the exit of turn 2. Take another look here and see what's happened to the Britishman, who's getting into it with oh yeah, he's just gone into that grass, and that's been a telltale sign right there, Byron. Lately you get on that grass out of turn 2, there's no way getting off it. You're going for a ride straight into that tire wall.
Yeah, because think about it. All of a sudden, you had 4 tires gripping the road. Dr. Feelgood's hanging on with all claws. You get 2 of them off onto the grass. No traction. That car still weighs the same. It don't want to turn. It doesn't want to go around at that point, and you are going to go for a ride. And if you're going for a ride fast enough, you're going to slap something that's going to cause some damage.
Well, speaking of slapping something, Marcus Osborne just slapped the wall coming out of the final turn and has absolutely tore that number 7 Ferrari up. The US Postal Service car is in pit road. John Navarra has just had a crash as well. We're going to go back and take a look at it once my overlay decides to wake up.
Woo, that's a lot of smoke coming out of John Navarro's car.
Yeah. Oh, and that's why, because he got absolutely... He ran into Marcus Osborne's car and absolutely destroyed his car as well in the process. So big damage there on both cars, and probably a race ending incident right there. I can speak, I promise. As
race leader Oleg Vorotniak into the pits.
Yep, we're going to go back and take a look at that right now. There is Oleg Vorotniak, and straight in with him is William Alcala as well. Now Alcala probably going to repair some damage here after that off in turn 2. Wasn't quite sure if he hit the wall, but he is showing some right side damage there.
Gonna have to take his fast repair. Alcala in the pits. There goes Vorotniak. Alcala just landed at his pit stop.
Yep, and just as I say that, while Vorotniak's coming out, he's lost the lead to Patrick Ripley. He's also lost second place to Terry Cowger Jr., who's now back up in second place. So Cowger is on a charge as well. He's had a couple of off tracks in the last lap or two, though, so not really the cleanest race he's had since he took that fast repair. But lucky to be back up in second place. He's 4 seconds off the back of Patrick Ripley, but there is a bit of a difference in tyre strategies and pit strategies, obviously owing to that damage on that Terry Cowger had to go into the pit road for.
Yeah, Cowger, he's going to be able to leg out a few more laps, so it's going to come down to a fuel mileage thing for him at the end of it. Is he going to have to make another stop, or is Alcala going to have to make another stop?
David Lehman in pit road from the lead of GTE, as I believe Brad McCombs might have already made his stop. He has. So David Lehman is in pit road from the lead. Is Brad McCombs going to get the jump on him? Here he comes down the pit straight right now. This is going to be close right here, Byron, as there goes Brad McCombs into the lead. He gets the overcut done on David Lehman.
Yep, the overcut worked on that one. As I've taken a look at the latest retirements, John Navarro on the hauler, and Marcus Osborne. Oh, that's a heartbreaker. He's on the hauler tonight, too.
Yeah. That was that slap on the wall was one slap too many for Marcus Osborne, and then gets arca braked, for want of a better term, straight afterwards. That's going to be absolutely demoralising. But one driver that's not going to be absolutely demoralised is this man, Brad McCombs, leading GTE right now, and seems to be enjoying himself. He's got a nice 5.5 second lead over David Lehman. Tyler Langenberg, we've not mentioned him at all tonight so far. In third
David
place.
Lehman having a tough time getting around Mark Thomas. He finally gets around Mark Thomas to take that position, so see if Lehman can make up any ground on McCombs.
Yeah, and for some reason my overlay is not showing up on the screen, so Byron, just keep talking away. I'm going to fix another thing now.
Hey, I can talk away like crazy. Brad McCombs has got the command in the GTE class over David Lehman. Patrick Ripley, he is out to a 4-second lead over Terry Cowger Jr., who is on the charge still by my timing and scoring. And if I take a look back in the GT3 class, we haven't taken a look at that. Hey, there's our buddy JR Kopp. He is now in the pit, so we're going to have to wait till pit cycles finish off with GT3 to finally call him around, as Kyle Smith goes by Zach Purcell and JR Kopp, who's both in the pits. So that hands the lead of GT3 over to Kyle Smith right now. Dave Ferrara he's just now into the pits. So it looks like we are in a scheduled pit stop cycle for the GT3 class. We'll have to wait till that cycles out to bring that to you a bit more. But taking back a look at the front of the field, Patrick Ripley is in command, but he's got to work traffic, that slower traffic. He's got to pick his points on where to make his passes to keep that car out of trouble, because not too far behind him, and now only a straightaway away, Terry Calgary Jr. can see the back of Ripley's car. And, wow, not too far behind Calgary Jr. is Oliver Rotniak. You know what? I don't know how many times, Sam, we've seen this happen in this league. They get strung out. We're thinking, well, this is going to be a boring race because, you know, the classes are strung out. The leaders, you know, are 4 or 5 seconds apart. Big time all the way around from each other, as Rotniak almost has a Code Brown moment there, getting around a GT3 car that went around off track. But these guys, here we are midway in the race, and we are right about cross flags in the race right now, and they are tightening it up. The LMP2 class, 3 seconds separate first and second, and another 3 seconds separate second and third.
Yeah, it's getting that close in the field, as I'm still dealing with a few problems here, so I will be with you in just a second, don't worry. I haven't gone anywhere.
Cross flags are in the air. Cross flags are in the air, Sam. We are halfway home.
So we will be getting the second half of the race over to you right now. So, but before we do, let's go to the ad break for this one. We'll be right back in just a few minutes while I get my overlay fixed and stuff like that.
was our spin? Who was that? That was Antoine Decache, spun right in front of Cop.
Yeah, and just as Byron was mentioning as we were coming back, Antoine Decache going for a spin there and causing a bit of a kerfuffle right there. He's now dropped to 3rd place, and it's all changed in GT3 right now, Byron. We've got Zach Purcell leading GT3 now.
Yeah, Zach Purcell. Now, remember early on we saw problems for Roger Shank. Don't look now. Roger Shank, 2nd place, GT3.
Yeah, I didn't see that one coming. He was having the worst start to his title defense ever. As I think he spun twice on the first couple of laps, and now back in 2nd place. Good drive from him, showing a champion's drive from him. Antoine Decache now in pit road. We saw an incident for Aaron Fulford as well. Let's go back and see if we can find what happened to Fulford right there, because it was a very unfortunate incident, and for some reason, he went straight on it.
Our latest retirements: Doug Buchanan on the hauler, Kyle Smith on the hauler, and Zachary Nurnberger on the hauler.
Now, Nurnberger was having a very difficult time out on track right there. He was not enjoying himself whatsoever, being as far down as he was.
Antoine Decache just coming out of pit lane right now, GT3, after, I believe, a scheduled stop.
It was not. Well, it must be a scheduled stop because he didn't take a fast repair. Still showing damage on the front of that BMW. Now, I think he might have accidentally picked the wrong car for tonight, because he was meant to be driving in GTE in a BMW M8. Is actually turned up in a BMW M4. So, yeah, I've made that mistake before, and I'm pretty sure you've made that mistake before as well, Byron.
Oh yeah, we've made that mistake plenty of times. It's taught me to make darn good, care of what I select as I'm picking. Going back to the LMP2 class, Patrick Ripley, 8-second lead over Oleg Vorotniak in 2nd, who has got a big lead over William Alcala and Terry Calgar Jr. I'm still not convinced, as our earlier conversation during the break, that Terry Calgar Jr. he's off pit cycle strategy. So I don't know if he's going to get an undercut or an overcut on this final round of stops. Just depends on how far he can stretch that fuel tank.
We'll see how it plays off. Oleg Vorotniak in 2nd place now, a good 29 seconds ahead of William Alcala. So the man that likes to be called Alec outside of iRacing, really having a good time right now. That silver, black and blue machine looks very planted right now. William Alcala having a very solid race as well, looking at a 3rd place here so far, but might be a bit further down. Oh, maybe it might work in his favor, because Terry Calgar Jr. just went off.
Oh, adversity for Terry Calgar. Gathers it back up, gets it pointed back in the right direction. This is a point of the race where mental fatigue really starts to take its effect on you. When you get into these back stages. I mean, we're coming up on, 38 minutes or so left in this thing, Sam?
There or thereabouts. No, we're coming up to about 47 minutes. Remember, my time's different to yours, as Calgar comes in again.
Yeah, Calgar coming in again, probably going to take that fast repair we've been talking about. But, yeah, my time shows we've been on track for 58:28 right now. I know you probably show an hour something by now.
Yeah, I'm not sure why it's doing that. But anyway, I think it counted the pace lap as well, so...
Okay, well, race is only an hour 40, so usually I'm a few minutes behind.
Well, if I'm behind, then it'll catch up eventually. But anyway, back to William Alcala. Good in 3rd place as Terry Calgar Jr. is in pit road repairing that car now. I think he's already burned his fast repair from that suspension damage he had earlier on. So he is now going to be in pit road for the long haul. That has promoted Jimmy Covert up to P4 now in LMP2. And he's about to get lapped by Patrick Ripley. This is how difficult it's been for that LMP2 class so far tonight. 4th place getting lapped right now.
Yeah, Dave Ferrara having issues on the track, and he had several cars almost take him out in the LMP class that we've been talking about as he finally gets it gathered back up and pointed in the right direction.
Yep, there is Dave Ferrara just losing it through Moss Corner, then losing it again and almost collecting Keith Roycroft in the same process. So problems there for Dave Ferrara. Now Terry Calgar Jr. still in pit road, is now being passed by the GTE field and most notably by GT3 leader Brad McCoon. Timothy Emanuele has got past him now. He's the man that's in last place. I believe he's the last LMP2 running. I don't see Atticus Middleton. No, Atticus is still out there. So,
well, you got to hand it to Atticus, and he has got a never say die attitude when it comes to getting out here on a track. That car can have the fast repair used and get beat 18 different ways to Sunday, but he is never going to say die. I'm going to finish this race one way or another. You got to have, hats off to him. I don't know if he made the smartest choice going with an LMP2, because that car, you and I know how that car handles way different. Things happen a lot faster, but still, my hat's off to the kid. He's giving it his all. He's out there swinging, not going to say die.
Just had a problem for Carlos Ramos. We'll go back and take a look at that one right now as he's had a bit of an incident right there up through probably the most infamous corner on the track, and that is the Moss Corner. Just losing the back end and going round again. So more problems, and right behind him, I believe that was Sean Crowley going off right behind him. It was. So a lot of people going off at that corner. We saw that on Monday, Byron, with a lot of drivers going off at Moss Bend. And we're seeing it again here tonight. Just in the background, we saw Tony Watson going off at that very same corner again. A very problematic corner is Moss Bend.
Yes, it is. It's you got to hit your apexes just right on that thing. You can't carry too much speed because it does want to unsettle the car the way that corner is. But then you also have to wonder, we've seen these guys make their pit stops, and we've seen it in this league. Do you see many tire changes going on? Those tires have got to be getting a bit worn. You got to be getting a little slick on that rear end, so you got to give it a little more careful on that throttle.
That you do. We go back to Patrick Ripley, the overall race leader. And I believe he is making his debut here tonight with Endurance for Amateurs. So what a debut he will have, with Michael McCoy having his problems and retiring early. Terry Calgar having his problems and still in pit road. Ronnie Osmer out as well. This has just really fallen into his lap so far and having a very, very good first outing with this league.
Yeah, very good outing. But you know what? One race does not a season make, as they say. And we've seen it. Dennis Diaz, he's a champion for a couple of seasons. We've seen him have adversity in the first race of a season and then just steadily work his way up the challenge. So I'm not counting Calgar out for the season whatsoever. I'm not counting Vorotniak out. I'm not counting any of these guys out. This is one race of many, as we have a full schedule to bring you.
Yeah. And our next broadcast will be coming up on Monday with the second round of the Open Wheel for Amateurs race at Suzuka. Now, that is a interesting track. Like I said on Monday, very twisty, but very fast at the same time. The only figure of 8 track the only FIA grade figure of 8 track in existence. Going to be very difficult for those F3 cars to get around on Monday.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough thing to see. I'm going to try and join you on Monday. Sorry, I wasn't able to stay with you this past Monday due to connection issues I was having, but I'm glad to be here tonight. For my normal gig on Wednesday nights here with you, Sam, in the booth. Doesn't it feel great to be back here with this league?
It really does. Obviously, I had my my re-debut with this league back in December when we had the 3 hours of green hell, but this is where it all started for me and you. We started with Endurance for Amateurs. We're back with Endurance for Amateurs as we're seeing a battle here between Paul Boyle and I believe that is Aaron Fulford. Not a battle for position, but Boyle just makes easy work of him That number 14 car is flying right now. And he's trying to get to the back of Ryan Tyler, but the only problem is he's 29 seconds up the road.
Yeah, but you know what? We've already seen it. How many times from the beginning through the middle and now to the end stage of this race? How many times have we seen adversity can strike at any moment? Mental fatigue kicks in, tires are worn, guys, you know, they're breaking a sweat. How many guys do you think have got sweaty hands in those gloves on those wheels right now? Got sweat pouring down their forehead. If they're in VR, they're trying to wipe the sweat out of their eyes on a track where you really have no rest.
Absolutely. With Oil trying to trying to chase down Ryan Tyler. Now the gap is 30 seconds between the two BMWs. There's Ryan Tyler right there, just getting lapped there by Patrick Ripley, as Ripley just makes easy work of him in that LMP2. A very different paint scheme to what we normally see from Ryan Tyler. He's usually in the black paint scheme on his BMW. Now with the Falcon scheme, as we've seen in the past with Cody Atkins rocking that one, but he's got it this time around. He's currently sitting in P5 in GTE, P4 in GTE right now. Tyler Langenberg in P3. David Lehman is in P2, but Brad McCombs, he's just got up and gone. He's now 20 seconds up the road in the lead of GTE.
Yeah, he's looks like he's just settling into his rhythm. Hey, you know, talking about paint jobs, you know what paint job I'm missing this season? I did not see it tonight. And we're going to have a talk with that young man about it. You know which one I'm thinking of, right? Do I need to say Reese's? I'm hungry.
He decided to change with the change of car this season. Marcus Osborne, who's already out of the race, he decided to go with the US Postal Service sponsorship this season, which is very questionable.
Well, we know that. How long did it take those pedals to get from here to there?
About a month.
Send the package to Ireland, folks. Just plan on your recipient not seeing it for Christmas or any time for birthday. Or yeah, it took a month and a half to get from my house to your house.
Looking at JR Kopp right now, making his way out of the final turn and trying to get down, trying to make up some positions. He's had a couple of problems here and there, but currently sitting P7. As there goes, I believe that's Timothy Emanuele just went past him. As the leader from GTE is in pit road, Brad McCombs is in for his second scheduled stop here.
Yeah, the GTE seemed to be able to stretch that tank out. Brad McCombs bringing it in pit side for what I figure is going to be his last stop tonight. As I don't know the countdown on the timer, I'm going to guess we've got 30 minutes to go in this thing.
38, went up to 37. But
well, maybe I'm trying to get out of here early. I don't know. I can't count. I haven't got my shoes off. I can only count to 10.
Well, for a person that's got to be on the road at 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm not really surprised.
Yeah.
Why they're making you go on the road at 4 o'clock in the morning is beyond me, but that's just, I'm not a trucker. I don't know these things. But anyway.
Oh, I got to be somewhere by a certain time, and I got where I'm sitting about 4.5 hours to, it'll take me to get there. That's if the snow is going to allow it.
Yeah, even we've had a snow warning over here in Ireland, so very much looking forward to, we actually look forward to snow over here. You guys dread it, but anyway.
Well, you count your snow in centimeters, or
inches.
We count our. Oh, you count them in inches. We count it in feet.
But we do have a battle brewing right here, Byron, in the GT3 class. Sean Crowley starting to close in on Dave Ferrara right now, and that in front of him is the GT3 leader, Zach Purcell, who I believe has not been in pit road yet.
Now, Zach Purcell, if my timing and scoring is right, he's got a lap on Ferrara and Crowley right now.
Well, he's got a lap on Crowley, not Ferrara. We'll look at the gap right now and see where everyone is at. As yep, he's coming up to lap Ferrara right now. Oh, there goes Ferrara into the wall.
The inside wall, got it up on those turtles, unsettled the car, and it just drifted it to that inside wall. That was so weird. Usually the car spins the other direction. It sucked him in.
Yeah, and that's gifted the position there to Sean Crowley now. Crowley up to the top 5 in GT3 now, so good position for him to be in. JR Kopp now is in pit road for his scheduled stop. So the GT3 cars, an hour and 5 minutes into this race, we're coming up to the final part of this race. That a lot of them are only just making their first pit stops here.
Well, these guys have got a pretty deep tank of go fast. I went back and took a look at Dave Ferrara. He got on those turtles. That car got loose and he overcorrected. That's what sucked him into that inside wall.
Yeah. So Ferrara, you can see the wheel hub on the right hand side, the front right hand side is missing now. That's how you can tell there's some damage. Now, has he got suspension damage on top of that? I'm guessing he might do because he's going a lot slower than he did before. And Roger Shank is coming up behind him very quickly as well. And he's bringing another Ferrari with him. I think that might be... Don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure if I can find him... Where is he? James Foreman, that's it. James Foreman is right behind him. And Foreman is another debutant here tonight. He's... competing in his first race, currently sitting P9, so a top 10 in GT3 in your first race, not too shabby at all, especially if you've never been with this league before.
Well, shoot, it doesn't matter. To get a P10 in a field as big as this GT3 class with the names that are in this GT3 class that we're used to from previous seasons, I mean, I would take a top 10 all day long. I'd pin that on my wall, hang that on the refrigerator, give me a gold star. That says a little something if you can compete with this bunch.
Yeah, Mackenzie Johnson in the live chat saying missing the meme MWs too, Byron. But
yeah,
when he's good and ready, obviously Mackenzie Johnson has been given...
They kicked him out. He's winning too much.
Yeah, but you wait till you see Mackenzie Johnson come back, because he's been given special permission. I don't think you knew this, but he's been given special permission by one Dennis Diaz to run the Mimette this season.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And I wonder who's painting that Mimette for him.
It's already painted. I painted it for Dennis. It's exactly the same one that Mackenzie's running. So...
Taking a look at our overall race leader, Patrick Ripley, 13-second lead over Oleg Vorotniak. Now, Oleg, I've watched that gap go wider, go slower, but is it just me, or is Oleg starting to chop into that just a tad?
Just ever so slightly, but Ripley has been absolutely on it, just scything his way through the lap traffic. I mean, the Canadian is just absolutely flying right now. And really putting on a good show here tonight, despite that spin he had on lap 2. Not letting get to him, just carried on, got back up to the lead, calmly took that fast repair in his one and only scheduled stop so far. Now, I believe he's got to make one more pit stop here tonight, as we've got a problem for JR Kopp right now. He's just been off the track. Let's go back and see what's happened to the master of mediocrity right here, as he runs wide on the exit of turn 1. Nothing too harmful there for Mr. Kopp as he carries on his merry way. Still in P8 right now.
Yeah, no damage on the car, able to gather it back up, get it back pointed in the right direction, and back on the pavement where it belongs.
Yeah. And he's got a good gap over James Foreman as well. 30 seconds is the gap between himself and 9th place. He's 24 seconds behind Alexander Matola. So copping a pretty between a rock and a hard place is Sean Crowley in pit road for GT3 now.
What looks like to be another scheduled stop happening on the GT3. You gotta wonder if these guys weren't just stretching that tank to see if they can, get a serious overcut and cut down on pit stops. But an hour and 40 minutes for an endurance race, that's a long time to go on a set of tires. I mean, how would you like to be wheeling one of these cars with that old a tire right now?
Well, it's not going to be easy. This track's not easy anyway. I mean, we've seen that a lot tonight. We've seen a lot of retirements from this first race as Kopp has gone off track again. Oh, that's a big hit for JR Kopp on the exit of turn 2. And that will be it for JR Carp as we go and take a look right now. Emanuele forcing his way through the inside, spooking JR Carp into the grass. And like I said earlier, once you go on that grass, you've got absolutely no chance. And you're going straight into that tire wall, which is exactly what happened to JR Carp right now. Back to live action.
He is on the hauler.
Yeah, that's understandable. As Carp is out, we're just seeing Ryan Tyler make his final pit stop of the night. He's just coming through turn 2 now. The leader is on lap 61 right now, so an hour and 10 minutes, 61 laps. That's not too bad. I think they can go another, what, 20, maybe 25 laps before this is over?
So I don't know. Yeah, you're running about a minute 6, minute 7 a lap. They might be able to squeeze another 20 in.
Yep.
But here's the question. Do they have 20 more laps of fuel left in their tank?
Well, we'll soon find out. I mean, the GT3s definitely do. GTEs might. As we're looking at Jimmy Corbett. Jimmy Corbett just coming out of pit road from 4th place. And, yeah, I'm pretty sure the GTE and GT3 cars can make it. LMP2 cars, they like to drink fuel a bit more than the others.
Well, they make a lot more horsepower than the others, so yeah, they're going to drink a lot more. I'm wondering, you know, Patrick Ripley, our race leader, I don't know what lap number he last pitted on. Do you have that information, Sam?
I do not. It disappeared.
Oh, okay. Because, if I'm not mistaken, Terry Calgar Jr., well, he's had big issues, so that never mind that. Strike that conversation. He was on a total different strategy that looked like it might have paid off. Oleg Vorotniak, I think he's pretty much on the same pit strategy as Patrick Ripley, but he's 15 seconds behind him.
Problems for Aaron Fulford in that EE Sports car. He's gone off. I believe that's on the exit of turn 1 right there. We're going to take a look and see what happened. We had a problem for Tyler Langenberg as well. And yeah, wow, that is a very unusual thing to happen there, although it has happened before.
Talking about pit stops, our leader, Patrick Ripley, is in.
That he is, and there he is into pit road right now. The MM Racing Canadian bringing that. I believe that's a Mazda-inspired paint scheme. The DPI Mazda. As Oleg Vorotniak takes over the lead for the time being.
I'm keeping my eyes on Ripley in the pits. I am going to see if there's a set of tires going. I doubt there will be.
Oh, we've had another problem for Atticus Middleton. Currently sitting in 7th in class right now.
Tires going on the leader.
Yep, so Ripley taking tyres here. Now, we've got to keep an eye on Vorotniak and Alcala. Will they take tyres when they bring it in? As we're looking at Alcala going around Mottola right now. And this is going to come down purely to strategy in the pit stops now. Will they take tyres? Will they not take tyres? As Ripley now back out of pit road and through turn 2 very nicely as Terry Calgar Jr. has unlapped himself and is now only 1 lap down from the leader. So,
now, Ripley needs to be careful because we've seen what cold tires do on this track. And he's been out there in a rhythm for a long time.
And Paul, oh, something's happened to Paul Skip here. Something big has happened to Paul Skip. Let's take a look and see what happened. Oh, just lost the back end. Into the retaining wall. And another one of the drivers that you would have thought would have been one of the favourites here tonight, Byron. Looking like he might be heading towards the hauler.
Yeah, Paul Skip on the hauler officially.
That's a big shame.
Oleg Vorotniak gets it loose going around the corner. His tires are toast. I've got to wonder if he's going to be bringing it in and taking fresh rubber. But he does have 31-second lead. I don't know what a pit stop, you know, from pit entry to pit exit without a set of tires is going to give you. But Vorotniak, his tires look like they are shot.
And that was through the Moss corner. Could have been a lot worse for him. Just a bit of a slide there and had to stop. But yeah, definitely not an ideal situation to be in. Decides to stay out for an extra lap. So Vorotniak is in, well, still out there on track. Patrick Ripley on those fresh tyres, though, is absolutely eating into the time of William Alcala, by the way. The gap is coming down by the second now, and he's getting a big tow from Terry Calgar Jr. to help him gain that time back on William Alcala.
Yeah, but they have a lot of lap traffic they're going to have to work, and Calgar is not making it easy on Ripley right now.
Yeah, as Langenberg goes off in the background, thankfully keeps it out of the wall. Oh, comes right back in front of Brad McCombs. And McCombs will not be happy with that one. He's trying to get that time back to David Lehman. Now, Lehman, obviously, still yet to make his final pit stop, so we're waiting for that to happen. And with Langenberg going off right in front of McCombs, McCombs will not be happy with that time lost right there.
How many times have we seen it in this league, Sam? Just when you think that it's going to be a boring race because there's so much space in between positions, they tighten up by the end of this thing and turn it into an exciting event.
Only 8.5 seconds between Lehman and McCombs. So, still quite a bit to race for, and we've seen in the past that even on the final lap, they might be about 4 or 5 seconds apart, but they can still catch each other and get around, catch the person in front of them and get around them. I think we saw that with Paul Skip. I think it was at Road America. He managed to catch someone in the space of 5 seconds and get around him. Oh no, it was Watkins Glen, I think it was, and that was an exciting.
Epic finishes have we seen in all the races we broadcast and been a part of it up at Watkins Glen.
Absolutely, as we've seen an incident for Aiden Svoboda. 7 laps off the back of JR Kopp, but Kopp obviously is out of this race. He's 7 laps back off Gary Schilling as well, and Schilling having a very quiet race despite the incidents he's had throughout this race. He's got a lot of damage on that car, so probably just trying to keep it on the tarmac and get it to the end, but looking for a top 10 finish here, and if he keeps it on the track he will get it despite that damage on that green machine.
Yep, I'm watching Ripley just carve some time. He is trying his hardest to get around Calgar Jr. right now. Calgar is not making it easy on Ripley to get around, allowing Alcala to hold his lead for second place. As
Vorotniak is in pit road, Aaron Claybaught is in pit road as well from 3rd place in GT3. We're going to keep an eye on Oleg Vorotniak. You keep an eye on Patrick Ripley here as we are going to see if any tyres go on that silver machine. William Alcala is also in pit road. I think it might be all for naught though, because here comes Patrick Ripley through the final turn now, and he didn't take tyres. Vorotniak did not take tyres. I wonder if that's going to hurt him or help him, because here comes Patrick Ripley now on the exit of turn 1. Those fresh tyres surely are going to work in his favour as he slides to the inside of Oleg Vorotniak and takes the lead away with absolute aplomb.
Oh my God, the overcut did not pay off for Vorotniak, but Ripley is still, he finally gets around Calgar Jr. Now you got to wonder, is Calgar going to hold up Alcala and Vorotniak like he did Ripley or not?
And during that little exchange right there, I saw Aaron Claybaught go off the track to avoid it, so I don't know if that was him just getting it all wrong, or if he's just doing a bit of heads-up driving and just getting on the grass to get away from it all. But either way, he came away unscathed and still holds on to 4th place now. I believe Malinowski, Shank and Purcell still need to pit here for their respective classes, so it's gonna be interesting. Actually, Shank has pitted, actually. It's just Purcell and Malinowski that hasn't pit yet. So, interesting there as William Alcala is out of pit road from 3rd place, 26 seconds off what will be the battle for the lead right now between Ripley and Vorotniak. The gap, actually no, 3 seconds, it won't be a battle for the lead anymore.
No, I was watching that Vorotniak, to see, it looks like those fresh tires for Ripley are paying off. He is able to carve traffic a little more efficiently than Vorotniak can, and Vorotniak still has yet to deal with Calgar Jr., who we've seen. You know what? I'm on this track. I'm not yielding, even if you are the leader and you are going to go a lap up on me. You're going to have to earn that spot. As Bryce Anderson has called it a night and put it on the hauler.
David Lehman has just been in pit road, and that's handed the lead back to Brad McCombs in GTE now. Brad McCombs has been searching for a race win in such a long time, with only 20 minutes remaining in this race. Could we be seeing that System X Corvette finally make it to the top step of the podium here?
Yeah, how many times have we seen him be the bridesmaid, not the bride? It's going to be an interesting race to see how this all shakes out in GTE. GT3, there's still some battles going on in GT3.
Yeah, we're still waiting for the pit stop from Zach Purcell. He's still not brought it down pit road just yet. He has a 49-second lead over Roger Shank. Now, that is because Shank has just been in pit road and has been able to keep hold of his second place, but due to the fact that one, Malinowski behind him has not been in pit road, and Aaron Claybore has. So Claybore is probably his closest challenger here. Should Shank have to... Well, he won't be his closest challenger here because Claybore is about 42 seconds off the back of Roger Shank right now.
Yeah, I got my eyes on Zach Purcell. I'm wondering, when is he going to be bringing it down pit road? He's been out there for a while.
Yeah, he's been there for quite a long time as he comes up the Andretti straight. I mean, to go 1 hour and 21 minutes without making a pit stop is pretty impressive, don't you think?
Well, I'm wondering what he's burning for fuel at that point. He's had to have made a pit stop somewhere along the way that we missed while we were maybe doing an SDK update.
I wonder if he's running on electricity or if he's got a few hydrogen cells in there.
Well, flux capacitor by the gap he put on the field.
Yeah, like that Chinese one that they launched, that one that the Chinese launched the other day. That's about 10 times more powerful than the sun.
Yeah.
Which is unbelievable, as Malinowski finally makes it to pit road for his scheduled stop and immediately has dropped to P5. Matola is probably a bit too far back, so Malinowski might just make it back out in P5 as he does get rolling again. So P5 he will rejoin now. The only one that hasn't pitted yet is Zach Purcell. How much longer, and can he make it to the whole distance of the race before he has to bring it in? I don't think he can.
I can't see him making the whole distance. It just can't be done. But he's running lap times that are faster than everyone else. He's right up in there. His last lap was a 1:16.
Yeah. Although
here we go. Question answered. Zach Purcell, pit lane.
Yeah. And Willie, the gap is 49 seconds when he entered pit road, so we've got to keep an eye on Roger Shank. You keep an eye on Zach Purcell to see if he takes tyres, but Shank is only just coming through Moss Corner right now, so he's still got quite a bit of track left to do. He's got to go all the way up through and the Andretti straight and through the twisted part at the end.
Purcell, no tyres. He is now exiting the pits.
So there you have it. Purcell leaving it out the longest and being in pit road the shortest. I think he only had to short fuel that thing by only a little bit because, well, he's only got 17 minutes left of the race, so he doesn't have to fill the tank here.
No, he doesn't. As he makes his way out of pit road onto the track, Roger Shank just now crossing the start-finish line.
Yeah, so Purcell needs to keep that car facing in the right way. There's still 17 minutes left in this race and still a lot can happen. We've seen it at this track before. We've seen people lose the lead with 5 minutes left of this race. Sorry, Mark, I hate to bring that up again, but that's exactly what happened. But we've seen people lose the lead with 5 minutes to go because of a simple mistake. I beg we don't see that happen to Zach Purcell. He's another driver looking for his first ever race win in GT3.
Yeah, and he looks like he's well on his way to it. He's got it, in his command, but, he's got traffic that's going to overtake him constantly for the rest of this race, and he's got to stay mentally tough to get to the finish. There is no relaxing on this. Now is the time to really bounce, concentrate down, elbows up, don't be distracted, hit your marks, run some clean laps. You don't have to run the fastest, but you need to run the most consistent.
Dave Ferrara in pit road for a stop. I believe this is a scheduled stop right now. He takes tyres And I don't think he's got a fast repair left because he's not getting any repairs on that car whatsoever. So he's just coming for a scheduled stop. There's David Lehman right there. He is, wow, he's a good 31 seconds off the back of Brad McCombs now. He's got a good gap over Ryan Tyler. So Lehman might be odds on for a second place here. The amazing thing is here, Brad McCombs in his GT3 is ahead of Terry Cowger. Now, Cowger, granted, is 5 laps down, but McCombs keeping it ahead of at least one LMP2 here that's still running is pretty impressive.
Yes, it's very impressive because of the speed difference on these cars. You're looking at a car, you know, in the GTE class that's turning a minute 12, minute 13 lap versus a car that's turning a minute, you know, 6 minutes 7 lap. So, yeah, when a lap is only a minute long and you have a 5 second, you're overtaking very quickly. We'll put it that way.
Yeah. Big story of the night, though, is that LMP2 class, Byron. We started with 11 LMP2s, made that 11 LMP2s. We only have 6 left running, or 7 left running if you count Atticus. But the biggest story is the shock retirement of Michael McCoy early on in this race, handing the lead over to Patrick Ribley, despite the spin he had on lap 2.
Yeah, and Patrick Ribley went out there and surprised everyone by taking the pole and qualifying. So, yeah, surprises all the way around on the season opener.
So a shock winner in LMP2, a first-time winner, well, first-time winners in both GTE and GT3. This season is getting off to be a pretty spectacular one already, and we're only in the first race. I am definitely looking forward to seeing what we have in the future. And, well, the next race is only a week away. We won't have too long to find out.
No, and where are we next week? Was it Mategi?
You had to ask the obvious question, didn't you?
I believe we go to Mategi next week.
I'll let you know. Just look.
That I couldn't tell you. I think it might be Mategi. I know we have the
Mategi. We've got
yeah,
Mategi.
and then isn't the Hunger Ring after that?
No, Spa after that.
Oh, Spa after that?
Yeah.
I might have to be an in-race broadcaster for that again. Nah, I'm not.
No, we can get our good friend JR Cop in to cover for you for that night, I'm pretty sure.
If I can be home on that night, trust me, I will be behind the wheel in this, in one of these cars.
In your LMP2.
I might do the LMP2 on that one.
I mean, it's good practice for Daytona.
Yeah, it's either that or I would do the GT3, so I'd have good practice in for our 24 spot. But you know what? The setup would be way different because we're customized setups in our 24. Yeah, LMP2.
All right, so Spa coming up in 2 weeks' time, but next week we're off to Japan alongside the open wheel for amateur series. As we're looking at Timothy Emanuele right now, currently sitting P5 in his LMP2 debut. Not doing too badly at all. 1 lap behind Jimmy Coburn now. Emanuele has had a slow but steady race. He's got Oleg Vorotniak coming up behind him. Now, Vorotniak trying to make up for lost time here. The gap is...
The leader, Patrick Ripley, spins it!
Oh, no, that's a disaster. And like I said before, anything could happen in the final minutes of this race, and it's just happened right there. And that has promoted Oleg Vorotniak back up to second place once again here, Byron. Oh, back up to right up to the back of Ripley again.
To the back of him.
Let's go back and take a look at what happened here.
He just lost the back end of it.
And it's up at Moss Corner as well. The one corner where a lot of people have been making mistakes. Yeah, and that just shows that anybody can make a mistake at that corner.
Vorotniak is now smelling blood in the water, but Ripley still has the fresher tires, so we're going to have to see what happens here as the closing stages of this race are getting really interesting.
11 minutes to go here. 11 minutes to go. Oh, Brad McCombs is off as well. Oh no! Brad McCombs is off in the from the leader GTE. Now will that give the lead to David Lehman? We'll find out in just a second. We're seeing Brad McCombs just try and get it going again. He noses it into the wall, but I think he might have just got away with one here. He's back and running again, still 18 seconds ahead of David Lehman. So Brad McCombs, unlike Patrick Ripley, a very lucky boy, had that big gap to start with anyway.
Yeah, and Ripley, you know, after that mental mistake, he's now starting to leg it out again over Vorotniak. Those fresh tires are talking big time.
And what is it you preach every time we do one of these races, Byron? Mental fatigue can be a killer, and we've seen it right there.
Yeah, you get this deep into an endurance run, and mental fatigue takes over. It's those mistakes. You've been in this rhythm all night, and you start to take for granted that that rhythm's always going to be there, and all it takes is one, you know, slip up, you know, you taking your eyes off of that corner, you missing that, you know, you missed that apex or that turn in or turn out just a little bit, and it throws you all off, and it takes you actually a couple, 3 laps to gather it back in and get back to that rhythm. But Ripley's showing a great recovery as he's legged out another, you know, he's legged it back out to 2 seconds over Vorotniak.
Now we're seeing problems for drivers going through turn 2 right now. Brian Tyler went off and kissed the tyre wall. Alexander Matola, though, very dangerous rejoin for himself. Rejoined right in front of Brad McCombs right there. That could have been so dangerous. I'm going to go back and take another look at that one. That was a very dangerous rejoin from the 505. I'm going to take a look at him right there. Watch the rejoin right here. Comes back on track right next to Brad McCombs and nearly wipes him out right there. You really need to be patient when it comes to things like that, Byron.
McCombs back in the pits.
Yeah. Might be coming to repair that damage on his car. David Lehman now coming across the line. He'll take over the lead here. So McCombs might have thrown it away here with that spin. Might have caused him more damage than we thought.
He might have got the ever-dreaded iRacing meatball.
Meanwhile, oh no. We've had another big incident right here, and William Alcala fans will not be happy to see this one. Alcala going off the track and into the tyre wall, and he had that glitch where he got stuck. So unfortunately, he had to tow.
Yeah, but he has 2 laps over Culvert, so he's still looking at the bottom step of the podium in LMP2. But that's a long tow because this track's, you know, just short of 2.5 miles. He's going to be there a little bit, but I don't think he'll be there for 2 laps worth. He might, because Alcala's already gotten by him one time.
Yeah, Alcala's still towing though. And he does have that fast repair in his back pocket as well.
Yeah, Culvert got by him one time. We'll have to see.
More problems for Aaron Fulford. He's gone off at Moss Corner. And a lot of damage on the front of that Corvette now. You see that big black mark on the front of his Corvette where the paint's come off, as there goes Patrick Ripley. As easy as you like. As yeah, the EE sports cars of Carlos Ramos and Aaron Fulford not having a good night tonight. Nicholas Paletti is in pit road from P9 right now. Atticus Middleton is back in pit road again after having another problem he had to tow. Keith Roycroft having a few issues here. He had a bit of an off track coming out of turn 1. He's in a battle. No, he's not in a battle. That's actually a GT3 car behind him. That's Tony Watson, who's in P12 in GT3 right now. As Paul Boyle brings it to pit road as well now. Oh, Paul Boyle had to tow. He's had an incident as well. And he got into it with Matola. So yeah, it's this is staying true to form here, Byron. Anything can happen in the closing minutes of this race.
Yep, and that's that mental fatigue. I think a lot of guys are saying, oh, this is too short for an endurance race, or this is just too long, for a spectator, broadcast. But I'll tell you what, this is just about the perfect length, because you are mentally whipped at the end of one of these, especially with this much traffic and this kind of track. These guys, as Paul Boyle puts it on the hauler, these guys, you've got to put in some practice. You got to get in your rhythm to do this. As Ripley still got command of the field. Vorotniak is second. Lehman's, he overtook in the GTE class. Brad McCombs is running a strong second. And Zach Purcell in the GT3 looks like he's going to be going well on his way to picking up his first victory in the endurance for amateurs.
Oh, we've got a big crash for Timothy Emanuele. That Bentley-inspired LMP2 is missing the front end, and he's continuing going. He's not going to go into pit road here. He's going to continue.
Not this close to the end.
Oh, true. We've only got 4.5 minutes left, and let's take a look and see what happened to Emanuele here. Remember, making his debut in LMP2 is through the final 2 corners of the track and straight on into the tyre wall, then comes back across again and into that retaining wall, which is not nice to see. We saw last season when these guys came here, JR Carp hitting that outside wall and then get absolutely punted by someone that didn't see him until the last second.
We're only a couple of laps away to the end of this thing. 83 laps is what the leader's on. Lap 83. That is a lot of laps around Canadian Tire, and this is a long track.
I told him they could go 20 more laps. But anyway, Brad McCombs, though, is not giving up, though. He's taken about a second and a half out of David Lehman in these last couple of laps. So McCombs is not giving up. And remember...
Oh, Patrick Ripley spins it again!
And that's not going to help him as there goes Olin Vorotniak to the lead. And he's thrown it away unless he can get it back here. Patrick Ripley, that's his 3rd spin of the night, and that one probably the most costliest.
Don't think he's going to have enough time to get him, but he does have clear track. In between him and Vorotniak, we have got a showdown in the LMP2 class for the end of this thing, as we're coming up on only a couple of laps left to go.
Yep, and only 2 cars on the lead lap right now. That is Vorotniak and Patrick Ripley. Everybody else is either... the closest car to him is 2 laps down. As now the gap is coming down. 1.6 seconds, the gap between Vorotniak and Ripley. Can Ripley save himself and get back up there to the lead? There is Vorotniak in the lead. Now he's coming up on lap traffic. That's Brad McCombs and Aaron Clayball right in front of him. He needs to clear that very quickly if he wants to keep Ripley at arm's length here as they come down towards this left-hander.
The needle on that one.
Yeah, as they come up towards the Moss Bend and down towards the Andretti Straight, and now Ripley trying desperately. Ripley trying to get around Brad McCombs here. This is getting tense now, Byron.
Ripley caught to the back of Vorotniak, but lap traffic, and Ripley had to get hard on the brakes. He got that thing all squirrely in the corner, managed to keep it straight. How he did it, I don't know. But he is now on the charge again, trying to get back to the back of Vorotniak as we're coming up on the penultimate lap of the race.
Yeah, no more lap traffic between Vorotniak and Patrick Ripley. This is a fight to the death now between these two for overall honours in this race. Vorotniak looking for his first ever win in Endurance for Amateurs. Patrick Ripley looking to win on his Endurance for Amateurs debut here. This has been a fantastic race here tonight at Canadian Tire. Not normally a track you'd see class racing on, but we're seeing it anyway, and we've seen a lot of big things happening. The retirement of Michael McCoy early on in this race, Patrick Ripley spinning on lap 2 and coming back and dominating for most of the race, and then Ripley spinning out twice in the space of 5 laps and just handing the lead to Vorotniak, who gets caught up behind, I believe that's David Lehman in front of him, so Vorotniak might be in trouble here as here comes Patrick Ripley up the Andretti Straight now. It's a straight run down towards the right-hander, flashing the lights now. Is he going to make his move now? But Vorotniak's going to hold on here, puts on a defensive move in towards the right-hander, side by side, round the outside goes Ripley. Big move there, still side by side for the final 2 corners. Ripley retakes the lead. What a recovery.
Oh, what a recovery, but he's going to have to hang on to it for a bit longer as these guys have got more that they've got to run. I think it's what? Is this a white flag or no?
This is the white flag, and just like that, in that space of a lap, Patrick Ripley sets the fastest lap of the race with a 1 minute, and let me just double check that, 1 minute 6.60, as Brad McCombs has gone up and thrown it away for himself. He is going to have to settle for second place now, 8 seconds between the two, but the night is going to belong to this man as he comes through Moss Bend. Can he keep it in a straight line for the final time here tonight? Out of Moss Bend and down the Andretti straight, up towards the final few sections of corners. An absolutely fantastic end to the race here at Canadian Tire, down the Andretti straight for the final time, up towards this right-hander. Patrick Ripley with that move at the end that's absolutely deserved this absolute honor here tonight. Comes up behind Tyler Langenberg, but that won't matter. Patrick Ripley comes out of the final corner and on his debut here in Endurance for Amateurs wins at Canadian Tire. What a fight at the end we saw right there, Byron.
Oh my God, this I swear, this league never fails to impress. I mean, you had Patrick Ripley was running away with it like crazy for a while. Vorotniak never give up, and then a mental mistake by Ripley hands the lead to Vorotniak. Lap traffic, which is what multi-class racing's all about, became the issue in this, and these two put on one hell of a show. Congratulations to Ripley on his debut, and congratulations to Oleg Vorotniak. How many times have we seen Oleg just be there in the whole race and never make it to the end? He made it to the end of this one.
Yeah, as Zach Purcell crosses the line in GT3, he has put strategy masterclass on here tonight and won his first ever GT3 race. A fantastic result for that young man in the 51. Regular visitor to the post-race show hosted by Mackenzie Johnson, and gonna be absolutely delighted with that one. In second place in GT3 will be Roger Shank. Probably the best he could do with that strategy play that was put on him at the end right there. Second place as he begins his title defense here.
Oh my God, what a show we saw tonight. LMP2, we were wondering how it was going to play with the GT3 and GTE here at Canadian Tire, and it did not disappoint. Attrition got into it. Mental fatigue played a factor, but I'll tell you what an impressive run by Patrick Ripley to put it on the top spot right here at the end of the race. Hats off to Oleg Vorotniak for, coming home in the second position. And you know what? All the way through here, it's been one heck of a race. I can't wait to talk to these guys.
Absolutely. Unofficial results on the left-hand side of your screen. And we did forget to mention David Lehman picking up his first win of the season, beating Brad McCombs to second place. 8 seconds the gap. Tyler Langenberg at the end there, picking up third place on the podium. Great finish for him. He's usually a very good visitor to the podium and gets one at the end right there. Ryan Tyler in P4 in GTE. And Carlos Ramos coming back for a top 5 as well tonight. But right now we're going to go straight to the interviews for tonight's race. And Byron, you have probably a very worn out race winner with you right now.
Oh, Patrick Ripley, man, what a debut to see you come into this league, run this LMP2. You surprised us like crazy by putting that thing on the pole to begin with, even though it was open qualifying. A lot of guys got tangled up in traffic. But, we were watching, other cars get retired. You were steady up there in front. Looked like mental fatigue caught you a couple of times towards the final stages. But what a run to the finish, man. Tell me about those last 2 laps.
Yeah, so I made the mistake coming out of 5, and it was a real bummer to watch Oleg go by me. He kept me honest all race, so congrats to him for finishing second. But yeah, I knew coming up the back straight, I knew that was going to be my only move on him. Take the outside in 8, and you have the inside for 9, and away you go. That's the classic Mosport move. So.
Yeah, and I noticed on your last pit stop, you took a set of tires on Oleg's last pit stop. He took track position without taking that set of tires. And to me, it looked like that set of tires might have been the deciding factor right there at the end to give you the cornering, dude. On that last lap, before the last one, you set the fastest lap when you were chasing him down to try and repass him for the victory with a 106.6, fastest lap of the race at the end of the race.
Yeah, I was following him all. I was leading the whole race, and I just went, I'm not going to let him have this one. So just powered down, and away we went.
Oh my God, what a debut, man. Welcome to Victory Lane. Welcome to the interview. And you know what? We got one heck of a race, a whole different track and a whole different country. We're going to Twin Mategi next week. What's your thoughts going forward?
I've run a couple races there. It should be good. It's tight, so but it's not as tight as here. So, we'll get a break with the traffic, I hope.
Yeah. How was it with GT3 and GTE out there with the speed difference, especially with these elevations of blind corners?
It's just chaos out there with this track specifically because it's all high speed and there's no real good places to go around anybody. So you've really got to be decisive. And, you get into a melee here and there and it happens. And, it makes it fun. It makes you really think.
Oh, there you go. Patience and persistence will win out today, especially with a fresh set of tires at the end of the race, man. That's your race winner, everybody. Congratulations, Patrick Ripley. We're going to let you go enjoy that. Before I let you go, who you want to give a shout out to that helped you get here?
I just want to talk to all the guys running in the league. Like, you guys have made it really awesome. It's a really good community. So thanks for that.
Yeah, all the seasons that we broadcast this, Sam and I, it has never, not once, ever disappointed. Great show, great showing. Looking forward to seeing you next week.
Yep. Awesome. See you next week, guys.
See you next week. That's your race winner, everybody. The number 5 Mazda-inspired paint job on that car, Patrick Ripley.
Yeah. And joining us in second place right now is a man who's probably just as worn out, and joining him is with me right now. Alec, probably not the result you wanted here tonight, but you put up one heck of a fight here tonight.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy with P2 also. I mean, I've actually stepped away from this. I've been working a lot. I haven't played in like 3 weeks, so it's great to sit down and, fresh mind and all freshened up and the frustrations out, and it was just easy. It went pretty good.
Yeah, and I mean, you were so close. It was tantalizingly close for yourself right there. Had that first race win just in the palm of your hands, but Ripley just absolutely put one on you there with 2 laps to go right there. I bet you weren't expecting him to come back that quickly, right?
I did not. The drafting on this in iRacing is huge. With the draft that Patrick got on me, and I was not going to do any of the weaving back and forth. I wasn't going to do overstopping on him. I just gave it to him, and then if I catch him, I catch him. If not, then it's just the first race.
Absolutely, first race of 13 here tonight. Just talk about how your race went. By comparison, you had probably one of the cleanest races out there in the LMP2 field. How was it just getting around the track on its own with the blind apexes and stuff like that, and the added addition of getting around all the GT cars as well?
Well, I do a lot of multi-class racing, and most of my racing I do is in an LMP car, so I get to practice that quite a bit. I do some racing in real life as well, so I mean, I guess I have a pretty good sense of what's going on around me. There was definitely a lot of luck involved. The GT3 were probably the hardest cars, especially on the sections where they were doing a switchback from right to left, to left to right. You didn't really know when they were going to do it, so that was very, very tricky.
And it was, and we know all about multi-class racing because you joined us and you won at Daytona for my team back in August. So we definitely know how capable you are on a multi-class race. But tonight, very difficult night. But moving on, things should get a little bit easier when we head to the Far East and the Twin Ring Mategi. What are your thoughts heading into that one?
Well, I am completely unfamiliar with the track, so I got a lot of practicing to do.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. It's very twisty, just like this one, but a lot less chaotic. I'm pretty sure. I've been on it before. I always enjoy that track. But Alec, before I let you go and celebrate your second place here tonight, anybody you'd like to give a shout out to, say thanks to, who's responsible for bringing that car to second place here tonight?
Well, I mean, my wife has always been supportive of me doing this. She never she never nags me too much. My kids like to intervene once in a while. So, I'm actually grateful that I get to do this at home, even though I leave for work a lot and I'm not home all that much. So that's nice to be able to do that. The equipment that I have, the company that I started that allows me to do this and practice, and hopefully these podium finishes will help move my rigs and all that stuff. So
Let me stop and hit the re-record button on the. My wife supports me on this thing.
yeah. She does. She's great.
I need to replay that for a lady named Tammy.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I mean, she's always been a great sport of this and my racing and that I do in real life as well. Um, the kids enjoy it. I'm happy that they look up to me and they get to come out with me sometimes to the races. It's a lot of fun when the family's around.
Yeah, absolutely, and we enjoy watching it and watching you guys put on a great show. Well, Alec, congratulations on second place, very well deserved. Very close to getting that, finally getting that top step of the podium, but we have plenty more races to go. Go and get yourself some rest, and we'll catch you next week when we head to Mategi.
Will do. Thanks, guys, for the broadcast. I'm gonna go watch this whole race now.
So that was Oliver Ratniak joining us from second place. Now joining us from Victory Lane, joining Byron from Victory Lane in GTE is probably a very happy and very relieved Mr. David Lehman.
You know what? You guys put on a clinic in that GTE class. You had to pay attention to the rearview mirror with the LMP2s on the course, but great drive for the victory in the GTE, my friend. Tell me about it.
Yeah, thanks very much, guys. Yeah, I was just saying to the other chaps in the waiting room, I crashed probably 6 times in the qualifying practice session leading up to this, and I almost never put the car off the track, and I thought I had no idea what was going on. I thought for sure I was going to crash on the second or third lap, and somehow I got into the race rhythm, and I had a pretty clean race. I thought Brad was maybe going to hold it off at the end. I wasn't exactly sure what his pit strategy. We were off sync on our pit strategies. So yeah, you know what? Happy to get the first victory of the season in the first race.
Yeah, we talk about it a lot on this racing series about mental fatigue towards the end of a race, and you see the mental mistakes starting to really show themselves out there on the track. Did any of that? We saw some moments where you had some cars on the track that you had to make some quick avoidances on here at Canadian Tire. We're going to a tighter course, just as twisty, in Mategi next week. What are your thoughts on, being mentally sharp for that one?
I really enjoy Motegi. That's one of my top 10 favorite tracks. So I'll be looking forward to that a lot. 100 minutes is a good length. You're right. Mental fatigue does play into it. It's one of the reasons I like endurance racing. I'm a little older and I'm not as fast as some of these younger guys, but if you can hold it together over 100 minutes, good things can come your way for sure.
Oh, yeah. We say it all the time. It's one of my sayings, you don't have to be the fastest, but you need to be the most consistent to come to victory lane. And you did it. And we're congratulating you on the first victory of the year. Things are looking up. Mategi on the schedule for next week. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to or a thank you for helping you get here in victory lane tonight?
Yeah, that would always be my beautiful wife, Agatha, who's probably got dinner waiting for me upstairs. So this all my races are dedicated to my beautiful bride. Thanks, guys.
Well, that's another one I got to hit the record button on and play for my wife, Sam. If it wasn't for the people that support us, we wouldn't be able to do this, man. Congratulations on the victory. That's your race winner in the GTE class, everyone, Mr. David Lehman.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
So David Lehman joining Byron from Victory Lane in GTE. Now joining myself from second place is one Mr. Brad McCombs. And Brad, it looked like you had the legs over David Lehman on strategy, but a small mistake near the end there probably cost you right there. Hello, Brad. Brad McCombs?
If he's anything like me, he had to run for a bathroom, I'll bet.
All right, well, we'll come back to him in just a second. But Byron, before we go back to Brad McCombs, we're going to go back down to you in Victory Lane because you have a first-time race winner with you right now, and that is one Mr. Zach Purcell.
Zach Purcell, how does the view look from the top of that podium with first place trophy in your hand here at the Endurance for Amateurs on the opening race, my friend? What a clinic you put on in the GT3. Tell me about the race.
And I certainly didn't expect to win coming into this. I was able to mostly keep it clean, and that was there was a lot of attrition. But I mean, even at the end of the race, like I think there was like 50 minutes left, and I saw that Roger was 14 seconds back, and I was like, "There's no way. There's no way I can actually hold off only 14 seconds on Roger for the last 50 minutes." And then we come to the pits, with like 20 minutes left, and that's down to like 6. And I'm like, this is actually gonna maybe come to the end. But he said he had some issues on like his out laps, and I was able to. I didn't think I'd be able to get a win and be able to kind of cruise the last few laps to the win as well.
Yeah, you got to stay mentally sharp for 100 minutes. It's a long time to be in that wheel, turning it left and right, especially with the LMP2 class edition this year. How was it having a car with that much speed and horsepower on a course like this, where you had some blind corners on the coming up on the hills?
There was definitely a lot of scary parts because you try to do your best to keep an eye on the relative, tab, but I mean they come out of nowhere. So, they can take turns way faster than you can. And so if you're not there was one time where I had one off track where it just totally caught me off guard. They didn't hit me or do anything. It was just that I like freaked out because I was like, whoa, there's someone there. Um, but this is a pretty short track. I think maybe the shortest one on the whole calendar. So the LMPs are coming over and over again.
Yeah, just under 2.5 miles here, Canadian Tire, but there's no real place to take a rest on it. So I've seen a lot of mental errors happening, especially towards the end, but you were able to hold it together, take home that top trophy, and secure the victory. What's your thoughts going to Motegi next week?
Well, Motegi is definitely a completely different one. It's got a lot of curbs. That'll help with it going out wide. This one's pretty punishing, Canadian Tire. Really wide track, pretty fast. I think that it should go a lot cleaner. I think people have less of an issue, and it's a lot longer, of course. It's not one that I have very much experience doing at all, so I'm not looking for back-to-backs, but I mean, maybe a top 6 would be happy for me.
Oh shoot! In this group that we look at, we see race week in and week out. I'd be happy with a top 10 myself. Tell you honest to God truth. Anyone you want to give a shout out to that helped you get to victory lane tonight?
I think everyone just did a pretty good job with communication. I will say I'll give one shout out for sure. Sean Crowley. He was in the GT3 and he just he stuck behind me the whole time, and he could have he could have ruined my race because I never changed the tires, so I was on old tires and he was on new ones, and he was clearly like faster, but he didn't like pressure me or push me off track or anything, and that could have been a sour end of the race. So I appreciate him giving me the space on that.
Well, he put on a good showing, getting a top 10 out of this thing. A great showing for the first race. Congratulations to your top spot, my friend. Go enjoy tonight. Let it soak in, and we look forward to seeing it Motegi next week.
Thank you very much. Look forward to that too.
That's your race winner in the GT3 class, everyone, Mr. Zach Purcell.
Now, before we go to Roger Champ, we're going to try and get a hold of Brad McCombs once again and see if he's actually fixed his mic this time. Brad McCombs, you got a copy? Hello, Brad. Looks like we're not going to get an interview in with Brad at this time, so we're just going to go back to the normal interview process, and we'll go to the man that finished in second place in GT3, getting his championship defense off to a reasonably good start there, Roger. Second place, despite the mistakes you made at the start of the race, you still managed to come back and get a podium here tonight.
Yeah, I'm plenty happy with second. Qualifying 14th, and I think I got pushed out of the way by a GT2, put me way in the back. There's no way I thought I'd work my way up to second. So, believe it or not, I'm pretty damn happy with that.
Yeah, I mean, Open qualifying probably hampered you at the start there. I mean, qualifying all the way back in 14th, 15th, and like in the midfield of the GT3 pack. How difficult was it actually starting there? It looked like you did have a bit of trouble at the start there. Obviously, like you said, being pushed off at the start, having to make up all them places again.
Yeah, I just, once I got past the chaos, I just tried to do what I normally do, which is just put my head down, run a pace, don't worry about everything else, and try to run the race that Zach ended up running. It looked like he ran a trouble-free race, and that's usually my goal. And I didn't achieve that this time, but I'm plenty happy with second with this crazy race.
Absolutely, and it was crazy today. How was it out there as well? You had the faster cars to deal with as well. Obviously, not just the GTEs this time, but the LMP2s trying to get around you. It's not the easiest of tracks to be on, especially with those cars trying to get past you, right?
Yeah, it's definitely not easy. I mean, it brought a new element to this year, but it's the same for everybody. For a while I was catching Zach between my first and second pit stop, and after my last pit stop, I just couldn't catch a break. It seemed like, and traffic just wasn't going my way, and Zach drove a hell of a race. Hats off to him.
Yeah, you managed to get the gap back down to 12 seconds. It was over 20 seconds at one point, so good driving for yourself. And as for your championship defense here, obviously you won the GT3 championship last season. Happy with the start? Do you reckon you can actually get back up there again? Obviously, it's only the first race, right?
Yeah, it's only the first race. It looks like it's going to be a real tough year. It looks like there's lots of fast guys in the class. I'm not usually one of the fastest, but it's who goes the farthest in 100 minutes, and I'm just going to try to kill him with consistency.
Yeah, and speaking of consistency, we're off to another track which requires consistency next week. We're off to Twin Ring Mategi. What are your thoughts heading into that one?
Well, that's another track you got to be on your toes, but I don't think we're going to get lapped as much there. I think that's a bigger track, so I'm looking forward to it. This is a fun series. My hat's off to Pony Express. They put on a heck of a series.
That they do, and it's definitely been another great race here tonight. But before I let you go, Roger, and celebrate your second place, anybody you'd like to give a shout out to who's responsible for bringing you to second place here tonight?
Well, I got to thank my teammates, Doug, Andy, and Alex, that came out and run with me, and a couple of my teammates got a fourth and a fifth in class. And say hi to my son and my sister, and my two grandsons, Ryder and Kaysen.
All right. Well, Roger, congratulations one more time. Championship defense is underway. Definitely going to be looking forward to that one next week. I know we are. Go and get yourself some rest, and we'll catch you next week when we head to Japan.
Thank you so much, and thank you for broadcasting.
No problem. That was Roger Shank. Now, I'm going to leave it to you this time to try and interview him, Byron, but we're going to try and get Brad McCombs back again and see if he's fixed his mic problems, Byron.
Mr. Brad McCombs.
Nope, he's gone again.
Brad?
He's gone again.
He's gone. Well, you know what? I'd be dead tired after 100 minutes on this track and that kind of traffic myself, to tell you how God's honest truth. I'd probably be laying on the floor in a pile of sweat.
Yeah, I would be too. I mean, this first race of the season was not the easiest by any means whatsoever. They should get easier from this point onwards. Obviously, Twin Ring Mategi, a big track next week for these guys, and an even bigger track the week after when they head to Spa. So it should get a lot easier with regards to with how much chaos they can deal with as the season goes on. But tonight, they've got the hard one out the way. Next week, it's on.
Yeah, you know what? And I just want to say one thing, Sam. It's great to be back in the booth, back in the saddle with you at the league that really just kind of put us together and sealed us as a team. How many times have we watched this league where it looks like, oh, this is going to turn into a boring race. It's 20 seconds in between each position. And look at the excitement we had on the final lap with the LMP2 class. This league never fails to impress, and I can't wait to see what the rest of the season brings us.
Yeah, and just when you think it was all going to be over, we actually got that battle at the end, so very happy with how things turned out, but let's see how they did turn out as we get ready to get out of here and we go to the results, starting with LMP2. We have the results for you right here, hopefully. Oh, we're going to go with the overall. Oh, it's not going to show me.
Well, I can give you the results for the LMP2.
I got it. As we get the results up for you right now, starting with the LMP2 class, we have the winner on his debut here tonight was Patrick Ripley. Second place going to Oleg Vorotniak with William Alcala. A great podium for him on his LMP2 debut as well. Jimmy Corbett recovering for P4. Terry Calgar Jr. problems all night for him in P5. Timothy Emanuele having to settle for P6 after a crash near the end. Good result there for Atticus Middleton. He was 21 laps down, but that didn't bother him. P7 was the result at the end of this one. Zachary Nurnberger, Ronnie Osmer, a big shock at the start of this one. Michael McCoy out of the race early on. He gets P10 with Mark Dillon Jr. in P11. Dennis Diaz was in the control booth for this race, so he will not count in the results. Byron.
Yeah, in our GTE class, David Lehman bringing home the trophy on the first race of the season. Brad McCombs with the runner-up. Tyler Langenberg bringing home a solid third place on that podium. Great start to his season so far. Ryan Tyler, fourth, and rounding out the top five, Carlos Ramos. Keith Roycroft, sixth. Aaron Fulford came home seventh, followed by Paul Poyal and Paul Skip. Doug Buchanan in the next position, followed by Bryce Anderson and Andrew Murray in early retirement.
Yep, absolutely. We're going to go to the
largest class on the field. In the
yeah,
GT3.
definitely the largest class in the field. We're going to go to the GT3 field right now, and coming home with the win after absolutely acing the field with strategy was Zach Purcell picking up his first ever race win. Roger Shank coming home in second place, and Aaron Claybore, who started on pole in GT3, coming home in third place. Andrew Malinowski bringing home P4. Alexander Matola, despite the problems he's had tonight, coming home in P5. James Foreman in P6. Then we've got Shane Crowley in P7. Nicholas Paletti in P8. P9 going to Gary Schilling and Dave Ferrara rounding out your top 10. Aidan Svoboda getting P11. Then you've got Tony Watson in P12. JR Kopp returning to the track in P13. Antoine Decache in P14. Mark Thomas in P15 after leading for a good portion of the race. Carl Smith, who led early on, in P16. Marcus Osborne, a shock early retirement for him, in P17. John Navarro in P18. 19th going to Daniel Barnett. 20th going to Chris Lawson, and Terry Bauman rounding out your 21 car field in GT3. Well, that's going to do it for us here on ESPN. Great, ESPN, not ESPN anymore. This is Pony Express Sim Racing. God damn it! I am still rusty. Don't come at me. But anyway, this is it on Pony Express Sim Racing. We have had a heck of a night. I'm tired. My brain's not working properly. We are going to be back on Monday night with some more Formula 3 racing with open wheel for amateurs live from Suzuka. Do not miss it. We will be back here on your screens that night, and then then after that we'll be back on your screens again with more endurance for amateurs live from Twin Ring Motegi. So from myself, Sam Cooper Bennett, and from my broadcast partners Byron Rodney and earlier on Dennis Diaz, this has been Pony Express Sim Racing, and all that's left for me to say is keep it clean, keep it green. We'll be back on Monday night with some more racing action. Do not miss it.